Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I bid to Dr. Intan. We are from Group 13 and this is our presentation for Assignment 5. Before we start, allow me to introduce myself and my group members. I am NATASHA HANI binti Muhammad TAJUDDIN and I will be the first presenter, following by THANUSRI, ASYIQIN, FARISA NAJIHA and AMIRAH AMANINA. Starting with the project overview, the topic that we chose is money under the themes of consumerism and financial awareness for Form 1 students. This lesson focuses on developing students' understanding of responsible spending and basic financial decision-making in their daily lives. The main skill highlighted in this lesson is speaking, while the complementary skill is reading. Through a variety of interactive and meaningful activities, students are encouraged to share ideas, understand text, and apply their knowledge in real-life contexts. The reason why we chose this topic because it is highly relevant to students' daily life and experiences. Students frequently make simple purchasing decisions such as buying food, school supplies, or entertainment items. Therefore, this topic allows them to relate classroom learning to real-life situations. The lesson also aims to help students understand the differences between needs and wants, which is an important life skill. Through this topic, students are also encouraged to develop responsible spending habits and basic financial awareness from a very young age. Additionally, the lesson integrates the cross-curricular elements of financial education, which supports the development of informed and responsible young consumers. This makes the lesson both meaningful and practical for students' everyday decision-making. Moving on, the learning objectives in this lesson are clearly aligned with both the selected learning standards and the element of higher-order thinking skills. For the speaking skill, Learning Standard 2.1.1 focuses on students asking and giving detailed information. This is achieved when students discuss and justify their choices during the activity involving needs and wants. Students are encouraged not only to give answers but also to explain their reasoning. For reading skills, Learning Standard 3.1.4 is addressed when students read a short text about money and use familiar resources to understand key vocabulary related to financial decision. In terms of HOT, Learning Objective 1 focuses on the C2 level, which is understanding, where students identify specific details from the text. Learning Objective 2 focuses on C3 level, which is applying, as students use the knowledge gained to complete a fill-in-the-blank activity. Overall, the lesson promotes meaningful thinking by encouraging students to apply their understanding in realistic context rather than simply memorizing information. So moving on to the lesson stages. The purpose of the set induction is to capture students' attention and create interest at the beginning of the lesson. It also activates students' prior knowledge and helps them connect their personal experiences to the new topic. By starting with familiar situations, students feel more comfortable participating in the lesson. This stage also prepares students mentally and emotionally for learning and creates a smooth transition into the main activity. In this lesson plan, the set induction is achieved through interactive questioning and the use of multimedia elements. First, the teacher greets the students and asks questions about their personal shopping experiences, such as what do they usually buy and how do they decide what to purchase. This helps students relate the lesson to their real-life experiences. Next, the teacher introduces a 3-minute song related to the topic money. The use of music creates a fun and engaging learning environment while also introducing key ideas in a meaningful way. This combination of personal interaction and multimedia helps increase students' motivation and curiosity about the lesson. Specific examples from the lesson plan includes the teacher asking students about their personal shopping experiences to activate their prior knowledge. After listening to the song, the teacher asks guiding questions such as what is the song about and what advice does the song give about money to check students' understanding. Finally, students are asked to guess what they are going to learn, which encourages participation and leads naturally into the topic money. These steps ensures that students are actively involved from the very beginning of the lesson.
Hi, I'm THANUSRI SIVAGURU. Next, we would be looking at the pre-lesson. So basically, the most important component in pre-lesson would be the schemata. So schemata is basically where the teacher would recall prior knowledge. So teacher would ask questions, review past lessons, or prompt students to remember related concepts, helping them retrieve existing mental frameworks. Other than that, teacher would also use familiar experiences like examples, stories, visuals, or real-life situations that students recognize trigger relevant background knowledge. Moreover, we also would link old and new information. So basically, the teacher would explicitly show how the new topic builds on or relates to previously learned ideas. Lastly, predicting and brainstorming, where students are encouraged to guess, discuss, or share what they already know about the topic, activating related schemas before new information is introduced. So, how is it achieved? So basically, it is achieved by displaying a short reading text about spending money wisely. Students connect the topic to their own experiences with money, saving, and spending. Other than that, the teacher would also be doing a reading activity where reading the text are allowed together. Students recall familiar ideas and concepts related to money and daily purchases. Moreover, by discussing the text and clearing misunderstandings, students relate the information in the text to what they already know and adjust their existing understanding. Lastly, by eliciting vocabulary like save, overspend, budget, and discount, students retrieve prior knowledge of these words and their meanings before new explanations are given. Now, for example, teacher displays a short reading text about the importance of spending money wisely. Teacher asks students to read the text aloud together. Teacher discusses the text with students and clears any misunderstandings. Teacher elicits vocabulary, which I said just now, save, overspend, budget, and discount. And then, teacher would explain their meaning using simple examples. Then, teacher displays the learning goals of the lesson and briefly explains what student will learn and do during the lesson. So this is how the whole pre-lesson would be conducted.
Next, for lesson development, so for this part of lesson, we focus on the input, task, and feedback stages where students learn and practice the difference between needs and wants using a shopping catalogue. The main goal here is for students to identify specific details about spending money wisely, especially by recognizing which items are needs and which are wants. First, during the input stage, the teacher introduces the topic in a simple and relatable way. The teacher shows pictures of common items like food, school bags, clothes, and toys, and this helps students to connect the lesson to their own daily lives. Then, the teacher gives comprehensible examples. For example, the teacher explains that food is a need because we need it to survive, while a toy is a want because we can live without it. And these kinds of examples make the idea of needs and wants clearer for students. After that, the teacher asks quick questions like, is water a need or a want? And this is just to quickly check if students are following and to clear out any confusion straight away. And this part is important because it makes sure students really understand before moving on. Next, in the task stage, students get to actually use what they've learned. They work in pairs so they can talk to each other and help each other out if they are not sure. Each pair gets a shopping catalogue, which makes the task feel more real and interesting. The teacher explains that they need to look through the catalogue and choose 2 needs and 2 wants. Then, they talk about their choices with their partner and write them down on handout 1. While students are doing this, the teacher walks around the class, listens to their discussion, and helps students who are struggling. This also helps the teacher see who understands and who might need more support. So it's not just about completing the task, but also about learning through discussion. Finally, in the feedback stage, everything is discussed as a class. The teacher starts by asking if anyone had problems during the task, so students can share if they were confused about anything. Then, some pairs are asked to share their answers with everyone. The teacher also asks questions like, why do you think this is a need? So students explain their reasons, not just say the answer as they have scripted. Moreover, the teacher also points out good examples and praises students for participating and having good discussions. This helps students to feel more confident and reinforces the correct ideas about needs and wants. Moving on to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is FARISA and for this part of my presentation, I will explain the post-lesson stage of this lesson, which consists of three main components: input, task, and feedback. This stage is designed to support learning objective 2, where students apply their understanding of spending money wisely, particularly the difference between needs and wants. Next, teacher distributes handout 2 and gives brief but clear instructions. Teacher also checks students' understanding by asking simple questions or observing students' responses before allowing them to begin. For example, teacher may say, you are going to complete a short fill-in-the-blank activity on your own. Please work individually. And this activity is about spending money wisely, so think carefully about needs and wants before you answer. This input stage is important because it ensures students are well guided and confident before starting their task. Next is the task stage. The rationale of this stage is to assess students' ability to apply what they have learned from the lesson, in line with the learning objective 2. During this stage, teacher instructs students to complete the fill-in-the-blanks activity independently. This allows teacher to accurately assess the individual understanding rather than group influence. Students are required to apply their knowledge gained from the reading scenario and earlier activities to choose the correct answers. Through this task, students demonstrate their understanding of spending money wisely by identifying whether items are needs or wants. Teacher also guides students by reminding them to think carefully before answering. For example, teacher may use the information from the reading text and the previous activity to help you choose the correct answers. And remember to think about whether each item is a need or a want. Finally, the post-lesson stage ends with the feedback stage. The rationale of this stage is to reinforce learning and address any misconceptions. After students complete the task, teacher reviews the answer with the whole class. This allows students to compare their responses and understand the correct answers. Teacher reinforces the difference between needs and wants by explaining why certain answers are correct and incorrect. Targeted feedback is also given, especially to students who struggled, to help them improve their understanding. For example, the teacher may say, let's check the answer together as a class, or if your answer is different, let's talk about why. And if you find this activity difficult, don't worry, I will help you understand which answers need improvement. This feedback stage helps consolidate students' learning and strengthen their understanding of financial awareness. In conclusion, the post-lesson stage is carefully structured through input, tasks, and feedback to guide students assess their learning and reinforce key concepts. Each stage is clearly aligned with learning objective 2 and supports students in applying their understanding of spending money wisely. That's all from me. Let's move to the next presenter.
Next, I will talk about differentiation strategies. Differentiation strategies. In this lesson plan, differentiation strategies are used to ensure that all students, including weak and advanced learners, can participate effectively and achieve the learning objective. Firstly, the lesson differentiates learning through the type of questions asked during the lesson development stage. For example, the teacher asks simple oral questions such as, is water a need or a want, to check students' understanding. These questions help weaker learners because they require basic understanding and allow them to respond confidently. At the same time, advanced learners can be challenged to follow up or probing questions that require them to explain their reasoning. Secondly, the lesson differentiates learning through the type and amount of support provided. During the task activity, students work in pairs to identify 2 needs and 2 wants from a shopping catalog and record their answers in handout 1. The teacher monitors the discussion and provides additional guidance and support for weaker students when necessary. Pair work also allows advanced learners to support their partners and expand their explanation skills. Thirdly, differentiation is achieved through the time given to complete tasks. During the post-lesson stage, students complete a fill-in-the-blank activity individually using handout 2. Students who need extra support are given additional time to complete the activity. This helps weaker learners work at their own pace while allowing advanced learners to complete tasks independently and confidently. Overall, these differentiation strategies ensure that the lesson caters to students with different learning abilities and encourage active participation from all students. Last but not least, I will talk about closure. Closure. The rationale for the closure stage is to summarize the lesson and reinforce students' understanding of the topic. It also helps students reflect on what they have learned and connects the lesson to real-life situations. In this lesson plan, the closure stage is carried out through reflective questioning. For example, the teacher asks questions such as, what is one thing you learned about spending money today? And how can you spend your money more wisely? These questions encourage students to think critically and apply their knowledge beyond the classroom. The teacher also summarizes the key points of the lesson, particularly the difference between needs and wants, and the importance of spending money wisely. This ensures that students clearly understand the main learning outcomes before the lesson ends. In addition, the teacher praised students for their participation and cooperation throughout the lesson. Positive reinforcement helps motivate students and builds their confidence in learning. Lastly, the teacher informs students about the next lesson topic. This helps students prepare mentally for future learning and ensures continuity between lessons. Therefore, the closure stage plays an important role in strengthening students' understanding, encouraging reflection, and providing a meaningful ending to the lesson. I think that's all from our group. Thank you for watching.